Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about how to glow from the inside out. And today it's time for September favorites, the video where I share with you all the skincare, beauty products, and self-care practices that help me glow this month. If you're so ready, give the video a big thumbs up, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started. Let's talk about Prequel Multi-Acid Milk Peel. Now, I did do a review on a few different products from Prequel last month. You all really loved that video. And I did talk about this product and I gave it a favorable review, but I really want to talk about it in this month's favorites video because this has made a big impression on me, particularly this month. So this is a product that contains 15% of glycolic acid, and there's a couple of different AHAs in here in addition to the 15% of glycolic acid, including phytic, malic, mandelic, and lactic acid. And what's great about this product is the pH comes in about 3.3, which is really ideal for AHAs like this to work. They do need a nice low pH, nice acidic pH to be able to exfoliate your skin. And this is a very potent AHA product. I mean, they do call it a peel, right? And so it is definitely something that can really help to rejuvenate the skin, refresh the complexion, help to shed away the dead skin cells that kind of accumulate on top of your skin that can really interfere with your complexion, making it look dull and uneven. It can also, contribute to texture, roughness on the skin, but it can also glycolic acid can also help to brighten up hyperpigmentation on the skin. And it is actually something with continuous use, especially at this percentage level. It may also help to contribute to some collagen production within the skin. So it does have a well-aging benefit as well as like a rejuvenating, refreshing benefit for the skin. This peel is also interesting because yes, we have quite a bit of AHA content. Like this is not for beginners, but this is also a formula that utilizes two different enzymes, lipase as well as protease. And these enzymes actually help to break down the glue that holds all those dead skin cells and kind of traps them in place. So it's actually also something that's going to be particularly good for congested skin and for acne prone skin as well. And so while I feel a little bit of a spicy sensation on my face when I use this, when I apply it, I don't wake up with irritated skin. And like I said, I personally use this like once a week, although I know some folks can use this a few times a week. I personally, one time, and I get really good results. This is about 220 milliliter of AHA goodness. That is huge. Some of these products that I use with this amount of AHA are like 30 milliliter or 50 milliliter. So this really big size actually makes this really economical for body use. And that is why it's impressed me this month. And that is why I'm like, holy moly, this isn't just a good product. This is a great product. Because I've actually been using this for, especially for my back, the tops of my arms, my chest, and now that sandal season is starting to wind down, I'm starting to use this on my feet as well. Because AHA helps to exfoliate the top surface of skin, it's particularly good for any dead skin cell buildup, like rough and calloused feet. Yes, it can definitely help to soften up those areas. It can also help to brighten up any uneven skin. I do find the skin on my back a little bit uneven, even on my feet, especially after sandal season, right? But it also is great for helping to, for me personally, I find to resist the texture and congestion that I can get on my body, especially like the tops of my arms. I can get those little white bumps. This really helps to smooth those out and keep those at bay. I am prone to breakouts on my back, and definitely BHA salicylic acid is really good for active breakouts because it can actually exfoliate deeper in the pore lining where that pimple has formed. But I find a good strong AHA is a good maintenance product for me personally, because a lot of the texture and breakouts that I get on my body is actually due to dry skin and that dead skin cell buildup. And so regular application of AHA helps to cut down on the dead skin cells that end up getting trapped into the pores and then causing the congestion, texture, and breakouts. It's more of a preventative type of thing. So I've been using this right after I shower a couple times a week, like 3 times a week. I've been using this like for body application, and my skin has cleared up a lot, and it's so incredibly smooth. It's like resurfaced basically. and the texture is like gone down so much, as well as I've noticed that I was like, oh, I have some hyperpigmentation from past pimples, like really like big inflamed pimples that I had. I was like, oh, I'm actually looking a little bit better out there. I'm not like feeling as like self-conscious, like if somebody saw my back or something, you know what I mean? So I was like really impressed with the results because it is such a potent peel. And I will say, even sometimes when I put it on my back, I feel that little glycolic acid prickliness. I can't emphasize enough that that is pretty common. I like this texture too. You know, they do call it a milk peel, but it's almost kind of like a milky gel, quite honestly. And because it is kind of in that toner-like texture, it's very liquidy, fluidy, it spreads really evenly across the skin, absorbs in really nicely, and it does actually offer a bit of plumpness and hydration. It's not just like a watery exfoliating type of a toner or something. There's a little plumpness to it that actually feels really nice right out of the shower. Get a little extra, plumpness and hydration on your skin right after showering. It's actually quite nice, but I was impressed at how quickly it helped to turn my skin around. I was noticing a lot more congestion on my back and my chest especially. I was using a different product that actually had I think 7% glycolic acid. It wasn't really working that well for me, but I started using this and like my skin turned around. Next, I want to talk about the VT Garlic AC Reedle Shot Patch. Now, I have to tell you, when VT started rolling out these garlic acne products, I was like, this is what we're doing now. This is what we're doing. We're putting garlic on our face. Okay, it definitely gave me some joy. Yeah. I definitely laughed a lot when I was like, all right, yeah, we all need our unique ingredients, right? Garlic is interesting because this is not a new kind of ingredient for acne. People have been using garlic for acne, for inflammatory and antibacterial properties for a long time, but it was just, I don't know, there's just something about it that really made me giggle. But anyways, one of the products that VT actually sent me were these Reedle shots acne patches. They're not the hydrocolloid, like suck up the juice and gunk acne patches. They're actually micro needle or micro dart acne patches because it is, part of the Reedle shot line. So these actually have like the micro darts that are the Reedle shots that actually kind of pierce into the pimple itself. And that's actually a good thing because it gets the active ingredients into the pimple much deeper so that it can actually help to calm the inflammation, to help speed up the pimple process, help bring it up to a head and kind of get that pimple going a lot faster. So it's not hanging around on your face too much. Sometimes these microdart patches will either bring the pimple to a head or they will just completely take down the inflammation. And that can be really important, especially if you're like me and you are prone to hyperpigmentation when any inflammation occurs on your skin. Some people are more sensitive to it than others, especially if you have a strong melanin response due to your skin tone, and I do. So whenever anything starts to swell and get inflamed on my skin, I'm like, oh no, here comes the dark mark, right? It's not even about the pimple necessarily, it's the dark mark that comes afterwards that just takes weeks to months to get it to fade. So controlling the inflammation is really important. And when you have those big swollen pimples, getting the active ingredient deeper into the skin, sometimes, yes, by piercing it into your skin, can actually be a lot more effective than just like a topical spot treatment or, skincare. So I have used these micro dart like acne patches from other brands in the past with like varying success. Some of them work really effectively, and you can tell the difference between, like I said, topical skincare and something that's actually getting inside of the pimple and working from the inside out, right? And some of them I feel like, the darts just probably aren't even getting into the skin. They're probably just sitting on top of the skin. They don't dissolve. They don't stick onto the skin really well. Or maybe they do stick well and the darts get in and they still don't do anything. So, they aren't like across the board, like amazing. You have to get a good quality one. And so when I started trying these out actually in August, I wasn't really expecting too much. And also the garlic, made me laugh a little bit. But I was surprised. The first one I used on like an inflamed pimple actually brought the pimple to like a really chill and calm head very, very quickly and sped up that process, which means that the inflammation on the skin didn't last as long. And so I didn't really get as deep of a dark mark as I might have without a product like this. So I was like, okay, maybe like it worked out that one time, like, good luck, right? But I have been sporadically, because I haven't had too many breakouts. I should like knock on some wood, right? For even daring to say that. I'm going to wake up with one tomorrow. But I haven't had too many pimples where a product like this would make sense. But when I moved, when you move, like just your whole environment changes, the water changes, and just moving itself is pretty stressful, right? And your whole schedule's turned upside down and all of that. And so I definitely had a moment there where my skin was a little bit more congested, stress levels were a little bit higher, sleep wasn't as good, like nutrition wasn't as good, right? While you're getting settled. And so I did notice that there were some more pimples. And then, like I said as well, I had some on my back because some of the products I'd been testing out weren't actually working very well. So that was just really the perfect time for me to really put these patches to the test. And every single pimple I put these on, it either flattened it out the next day or it brought it to a head so that I could get that process going a lot faster with the pimple. So I was like, oh, these actually work really good. So I did want to shout them out in this month's video because, like I said, I thought the first time that it worked out really well was a fluke because of my past experiences with these types of acne patches, but these have consistently worked for me. Another product I really liked this month was the Skinfix Foaming Oil Cleanser. I've actually wanted to try this for a while now, and I finally got around to it. And, it's kind of interesting, like I was telling you, I moved in the middle to end of August. And so the last few weeks of August and even like the first few weeks of September for me were just all about like transition and settling and just trying to like get everything in order and like find my new rhythm. And I feel like that metaphor actually really translates to my skin as well for this month because my skin was like trying to find its rhythm this month. Definitely just the external changes, different water. It's amazing how much like just different water affects our skin. The weather is whack outside. Things are new happening, inside, and my skin's like, I don't know what to do. And it wasn't irritated and my skin barrier wasn't super weak or damaged. My dehydration was a little bit up. Like my skin was just like, I don't know, it just needed to calm down. You know what I mean? And so I ran out of my favorite. I used the last pump of my favorite La Roche-Posay foaming oil cleansing wash, whatever it's called, the Lipicar foaming oil cleanser that I really, really love. And then I went through like a series of a couple of different cleansers and I was like, just none of them were like hitting the mark. Some of them were like maybe a little bit too foamy, like they almost stripped my skin and left it a little tight. I was like, this isn't it. And then I was using like really moisturizing, milky kind of cleansers. And I was like, these just aren't really right for the season. They're just a little too moisturizing. I don't feel like they're like washing off as well. I was like, this isn't it. And then it was like Goldilocks, right? It's like just finding the perfect one. And I feel like this Skinfix like split the difference between what I was looking for. Not like foaming and really cleansing, right? But not stripping. And like soft and moisturizing and not too harsh, but not too like thick either. And that's exactly what this is. It is almost like a gel type of a cleanser mixed with like a cream type of a cleanser. It is a really nice, silky, luxurious type of texture, and it foams up really well. And that's kind of the one thing that I love milk cleansers for the moisture that they bring, but I kind of don't love when they don't foam up because there's just something about the foaming action that really helps to break through like any thick like oil that you might have on your skin. And hey, I have combo skin. My T-zone is still popping in September. And so this really helps to break through all of that. Or maybe, sometimes even in the morning, my skincare layers might feel a little thick, especially if I slugged the night before. And so I like to use like a foaming cleanser to just break that up. Like it just feels good. It feels really refreshing. And they wash away really cleanly, but then I don't want it to strip my skin. So there's just that kiss of moisture and silkiness to this that when I wash this off of my face, my skin still feels like my barrier still feels really respected and the moisture levels don't feel like they've been messed around with too much on my skin. Like my skin is clean and refreshed, but also like softened and moisturized. And like that chill factor. Remember I was saying like, I think my skin just needs to like chill out and like calm down. And this was like that perfect cleanser. And especially after so many duds in a row, and I was like really just seeking for something that felt like, can I find a happy middle? This was the happy middle. This next product, I didn't even know I needed it in my life, but I really did. This is the PMD Beauty Reflect Pro mirror. Now, this is like an LED illuminated mirror, and it also magnifies as well. And now I will say, the brand actually did send this to me. They were very generous. They sent it to me months ago, maybe at the end of the spring. It was a really long time ago. And I was like, this is so great. But honestly, I am a little hesitant about the magnifying mirrors. And I will tell you that this is definitely rooted in past experiences that I had, especially my younger self. I couldn't do magnifying mirrors because it really makes me fixate on flaws. I'm saying that with the air quotes here for those of you who are listening and not watching, right? Flaws that would just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like they just kind of like build on each other. Once you see one, then you see another, and then you start to obsess, and then you start to feel bad about yourself. And it just kind of like messes with your head a little bit. I also used to be definitely somebody who was a picker and a popper and all of that too. And I think that magnifying mirrors actually makes that behavior worse. So I used to have a magnifying mirror a long time, like just a basic one, no LED lights, right? A basic one many years ago. And I got rid of it many years ago because I was like, this isn't making me feel good about myself. I've had this for a while, I will admit. And I was like, this is a nice product, but I don't think it's for me. But I held on to it. And then when I moved, I realized that the mirrors in my bathroom aren't really that great. The lighting in my bathroom is not as good as my other bathroom. And so I was like, ugh, it's just like getting a little bit harder to like pluck your eyebrows and things like that, right? And so I was like, oh yeah, this mirror. I was like, why don't I just give it a whirl? I started using this mirror and I was like, I love this so much. This is actually really great. And I didn't even know, like I can see hairs I didn't even know. And I'm glad that I can see like totally different version of myself. I'm glad I can see these hairs because now I can, take care of them, right? I'm not going to obsess over them, but this is so great. And I love the LED capabilities of this mirror. Really everything I want this mirror to do, like the more that I started to use it, because I didn't read the instructions. The more I started to use it and I was like, oh, it'd be nice if it did this. And then I discover that it's actually doing it. And I'd be like, it'd be cool if it does that too. So let me walk you through this. Okay, so this is a really great mirror. I've been putting it on my vanity. And what's great about it is there is a magnifying portion, but it is a smaller portion of the mirror. And so when I know that I don't want to get up close to certain areas, I don't have to, but I can isolate certain areas, like I was saying, like for my eyebrows, without having to fixate too much like on the pores on my nose. What's really cool about it, and like I was saying, features that I wish this had, and then I realized it has it, you can actually rotate the mirror. So say you don't want to, this is embarrassing. Say you don't want to pluck the hairs on your eyebrows, but you want to pluck the hairs on your chin, right? You can actually just like rotate the mirror to the magnifying portion to be lower. And then you can, magnify whatever you need to magnify. So it's actually really great that you can rotate it completely. And of course, you can tilt it up, you can tilt it down and all of that. You can also remove this from the pedestal stand and use it like a handheld mirror. So you can actually like move it around or move it up or whatever. So that's also a really cool thing. It's like a rechargeable, device. So you don't actually have to keep it plugged in, which is also cool. So you just charge it up and then you can take it with you wherever. It's completely cordless. And you can change the LED temperatures from warm light or cool light. And you can also brighten or dim it as well. Like it's literally everything that you would want in this mirror. Now it's time for the inner glow. This is the portion of the video where I talk about self-care practices and thoughts or ideas that really help me to glow from the inside out, because it's not just about what we put on top of our skin that helps us to glow. And so this month I've been really meditating on flow versus force. And this is actually a theme that I have been thinking on for many years. And it's actually something that's helped me so much on, my journey as a human being, right? But even my journey here on YouTube. And you know what flow feels like. When you're working on something and it just feels really energizing. It feels uplifting. It feels aligned. It almost feels like you're being guided as you're doing it. It just feels good in your body. You don't feel exhausted by it. And force is exhausting, right? It is anxiety. It feels like you're pushing and pushing and pushing and exhausting yourself, and you're not getting anywhere. It's like spinning your wheels in place, and it doesn't feel good in your body. So this month I've been thinking about flow versus force a lot again. This has been a theme throughout, my personal journey for sure, because as I've shared many times here on my channel, I do identify as like a recovering perfectionist. I definitely used to be somebody who had a much more rigid mindset, and definitely, I wanted to control things. And I definitely was the type of person that'd be like, well, if you don't tell me 2 weeks in advance, and I can't show up, because I would control my schedule like so much. And I think that there is a value to that. Like, I think we should, have boundaries and guards up around our time and all of that for sure. But I think that there is a balance where we can let things flow while still protecting our time and all of that. And we can be so forceful that we shut everything down. We put our walls up so high because we want to control it so much that it's actually like that force and that control actually, it's almost like the energy of that actually blocks a lot of good things from coming to us. Some of us do use control and force as a way, we think as a way to manage our anxiety, because it's like, if I can just control the situation, if I can just fit everything into this box that I'm comfortable with, then like my anxiety will be better, right? But it actually, when we get so involved into it to the point where like we are forcing and controlling things so hard, it actually creates more anxiety, right? And then that creates even more blockages in our life, I feel like. And so this has been a journey of many, many years for me. But I started to thinking about it again in September, because it's like, it's one of those things, like you can think about it and you can work on it, but it always kind of creeps back in a little bit. And it's like developing a muscle and keeping that muscle nice and strong, right? It's work, right? It takes time. I did notice that there were some situations like that this month that I felt those things, but I didn't grip them that hard. I didn't force them that hard. I let them flow a little bit more. And I was like, wow, something that would have sent me spiraling even a year ago. Like, I was just like, it's just how it is. We just roll with life. We just flow with life. And I was like, wow, I feel lighter. Even though, certain things didn't work out my way, it's like, I feel lighter. I feel better because I didn't try to force it. I didn't try to control it. I actually have less anxiety because I just kind of let things go. I will say, this is such a minor example, but I got a mosquito bite on my face this month. And I am minorly allergic to mosquito bites. The area will swell up and go very, very red. My face actually felt like it was going numb. And I was like, I have to film videos tomorrow. And my face is swollen. I can't hide this. And my face is numb also. And I was like, am I going to have to am I going to have to go to the ER? Like, this is really bad. Luckily, that numbing feeling went away after about 20 minutes. Whew. But the swelling, that was definitely something that I was feeling a little bit panicked over. And I was like, no, I need to be able to be camera ready the next day. And now I have a mosquito bite on my face. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. Things happen. Life happens. Reschedule. Push it back, do something else, like just rearrange. You will probably be okay in a couple of days. Just like ask for an extension, like just reschedule things. It's okay. Like, life happens. We don't have to do a very rigid, everything has to happen the way I need it to happen. And if it doesn't happen that way, I spiral, right? So that's kind of a very minor, well, it wasn't minor to me. That was a big mosquito bite. And this can, definitely be applied to the way that we manage our time and our schedules, but it can also be applied to, the way that we relate to other people in our lives. Like, you definitely know you can't control other people as much as we want to. We can't, right? And so kind of taking in that mindset of like, how can I flow with this rather than try to force it or control an outcome? I promise you that your favorite YouTubers who have been doing this for a long time will probably have some version of what I just told you. I used to be a perfectionist, and I realized that was holding me me back in life. I used to try to force the outcome of everything, and I realized that it was actually blocking my success, or it was blocking my ability to show up for my subscribers every single week or what have you. And so there are probably areas in your life where you could be embracing more flow rather than force. And you start to realize that trying to strongly control the outcome and grip to it so much that you try to force something to happen, or you force the outcome of something, that's it's to your detriment. You're actually blocking that thing from happening. Remember, force doesn't feel good in your body. It feels draining. It feels anxious. It feels exhausting. Flow, even when it's a lot of work, it's energizing, right? It's uplifting. It keeps you going, and it helps you flow right with life, because that's life. We just go with the flow. So now it's your turn to let me know all your favorite skincare, beauty products, or even self-care practices that helped you to glow this month. Let us all know in the comments below. Now, if you love this video and you love this mix of skincare and self-care, please hit subscribe if you haven't already. Come join our skincare community and turn on notifications so you're never out of the loop. I love you so much. Thank you for being here with me today. I just want to encourage you to keep shining your light, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.